3 minutes.
And I'd also like to briefly support the outstanding work of Deputy Gino Kenny and People Before Profit in producing the Cannabis for Medicinal Use Regulation Bill and having it passed through the second stage in this Dáil. Despite the caveats and reservations in the report on the scrutiny of the bill, and I listened very carefully to Dr Harty on that matter, coming out of the Department of Health, and I note also the comments of the Minister, but I believe the bill should now proceed straight to committee stage, and for any reasonable amendment required to be brought forward at the committee and the final report stage. In his introductory speech in the bill last December, Deputy Kenny made a very powerful case for the passage of this bill into law. In particular, of course, he recalled the extraordinary campaign of Vera Toomey on behalf of her daughter Ava, and I welcome her to the gallery here today. And of course, Deputy Kenny was heavily involved in that campaign. And also, he also drew our attention to other harrowing medical situations, such as that of Mary Fleming and her husband Tom, and of Mark Gaynor and his son Ronan. And I recall hearing Deputy Breed Smith talking about the difficulty of treating Dravet syndrome in particular in a later part of the debate. Like many other deputies, I think I was very struck by the report Cannabis, the Evidence for Medical Use, May 2016, which was produced by Professor Michael Barnes and Dr Jennifer Barnes. And I mean, it did show, I think, very good evidence for one or more of cannabis products or natural cannabis in the management of chronic pain, including neuropathic pain, spasticity, nausea and vomiting, particularly in the context of chemotherapy, and the management of anxiety. And it also had a graduated success use, I think, of medicinal cannabis for many other conditions. So, as I've mentioned, I've listened to Dr Harty's caveats and reservations that the bill shouldn't proceed to committee stage, but I think those issues could be addressed. For example, the issues are said to be technical issues and implementation difficulties, and I've read some of the committee's work. The shortage of peer-reviewed evidence for the efficiency and safety of cannabinoid treatment for many conditions, that doesn't seem to have any basis whatsoever. In fact, Deputy Harty, given the wide international experience and research which I've alluded to, the point the committee makes also about the Cannabis Regulatory Authority, it has relevance. And I know this House, we're always reluctant to create yet another Quangor agency, but surely the remit of the Health Products Regulatory Authority could simply be extended, as Deputy Kenny has argued, on the German model to include the regulation and research of medicinal cannabis treatment. The scrutiny report also had difficulties with the proposed framework of access to cannabis, but the Misuse of Drugs Regulation Act 2017 Regulation 2017 clearly enunciates the responsibility of medical practitioners in prescribing drugs which in the future could include medical cannabis. So to conclude, I wish again, Lascan, to convey my strong support to Deputy Gino Kenny, his colleagues and People Before Profit in producing the Cannabis for Medicinal Use Regulation Bill. I believe the bill should now proceed to committee stage. I'm heartened by some of the comments we've heard here today, and that any reasonable amendments, such as the caveats I've referred to, that they will be dealt with at the committee and at report stage in the House. Thanks, Cam.